All right, so let's start this broadcast with the big story that we are tracking on WION at this hour. The Biden administration is all set to sign a deal that will allow the US-based General Electric to produce engines for military aircraft on Indian soil. Now, a deal finalizing the joint production is expected to be announced during the Indian Prime Minister's visit next week. Now, according to reports that have come in, the Indian state-owned Hindustan Aeronautics will produce the engines as a licensed manufacturer. The details also suggest that the deal will entail 80% transfer of jet engine technology by value. Now, Washington, remember, maintains very strict controls over the domestic access granted to national military technology to other nations. Now, after the US government gave the go-ahead to General Electric, the two sides reportedly have also reached an in-principle agreement on this deal. While India can manufacture jets domestically, it is extremely keen to get the technical know-how to make aircraft engines. And India also intends to produce more than 350 fighter jets for its Air Force and Navy over the course of the next 2 decades, which could be powered by General Electric's engine 414. And amidst China's territorial ambitions, Washington is working to try and deepen its ties with the world's largest democracy and also to strengthen its foothold in the Asia-Pacific region. A broader joint partnership between the United States and India announced earlier this year is designed to encourage firms to collaborate, especially on military equipment and tech. All right, now to give us more perspective in terms of what this, of course, means for both India and the United States, we're being joined in by our principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant Sibal, who's joining us live on this broadcast. Now, Siddhant, this is a crucial agreement that's been struck between India and the United States. Tell us more.
Well, when it comes to the Indian Prime Minister's visit and the deals which are expected to be announced, one key focus area will be defense. We know that it is expected that 2 defense agreements are expected to be announced. One, the Predator drone deal. The Indian Defense Ministry last week took a decision that it needs these drones. This deal has been in conversation for a pretty long time, and obviously now it's given that it will be announced later next week. Now, other focus is the GE deal that essentially means manufacturing of jet engines in India. Now, what India and the US gain from this entire deal is first, of course, the trust which has over the time has increased between the two countries. India and the United States have signed several foundational pacts as well when it comes to COMCASA or LEMOA, and also essentially there is worry over China as well. But in this entire gamut of geopolitics, India also wants that it manufactures defense equipment, because as of now it's reliant in a major way when it comes to importing of defense equipment. So the Americans are keen to have co-production of defense equipment with India. That essentially is the big message that will be sent during the Indian Prime Minister's visit to United States with the announcement of 2 key defense pacts.
Absolutely, indeed. So now people are looking at these deals that are expected to be announced during the course of the Indian Prime Minister's visit to the United States. A lot of people would, of course, say that because India at this moment has a lot of reliance on Russian military hardware, the Americans are doing everything that they possibly can to try and wean India away from the dependence on Russian military hardware. Is that the sense that we are getting here, that the United States, because of the tensions that it has got with China and also with Russia in the context of the Russia-Ukraine war, it would prefer if India were to not rely as much as it presently does on the Russian military hardware?
Well, as much as the Biden administration would like to see India getting away from Russia, it's not happening very soon. Approximately 2 decades time or a decade's time at least when it comes to India reducing its dependency on Russian defense equipments. Yes, it is given that India is trying to diversify and reduce its dependency on the Russians and trying to focus on Make in India defense equipments, but it will take a lot of time. But how the Americans can help is co-production, and that is something the Americans are keen on. But essentially when it comes to geopolitics, especially the geopolitics of the Indo-Pacific, where there is a very aggressive China, a Russia that is engaged in a conflict and now getting dependent on China, which India does not see very positively relationship with Beijing. So essentially, amidst this geopolitics, focus for India remains how it diversifies and basically co-produces defense equipments with countries like United States, and that is the message we will see during the Indian Prime Minister's visit to United States, which is being dubbed as a transformational visit. We have seen relationship in the first 2 decades of this century going really up. Remember, these two countries during the Cold War were not very best of friends, and now it looks like the embrace is happening very fast, and that we will see during the Indian Prime Minister's US visit.
Absolutely indeed, Siddhant. Thank you very much indeed for joining us from the Times Square in New York and getting us all those details. We'll of course come back to you as more details emerge in this crucial story then. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.